Hi, I'm Rose Bauer, and I'm going to demonstrate how to construct the Olson Mask, which is it's a mask that was developed by a couple of nurses who try to put a pocket inside of a mask so that you can put a filter in. So that's what we're going to be constructing, and this is what it looks like when it's finished. This is a partial finish, so we've done it in prints, and we're moving on to solids right now. And inside here, inside this pocket, is a filter, which is really designed to help keep more of the toxins out, dust, toxins, whatever's going on out there. And of course we put an earpiece on each side. It's tied like this so that when the wearer gets it, they can make it fit to their face. And then they can cut the excess off and turn it around and put it inside. But the way we're delivering it is like this. The Olson mask consists of 3 pattern pieces. There's the face, which is this. And of course, there's the lining, which is this. 2 pieces for the lining, 1 piece for the face. Someone else is going to cut it, and they're going to stack it. The face pieces, you see the face pieces fit on top here. These are the cheek pieces, they fit on top here. And these are the mouth pieces. This is the lining, and this is the front face. So when you get it, you're going to get a pack like this, and then you're going to get a pack of 10, enough to make 10 masks, and the linings will be in a bag, and you'll get that. So now that you've seen that, step 1 is taking 2 pieces of the face fabric. Now the face fabric, there's the nose, here's the top, your nose is in here, and this is the chin part. So you're picking up 2 pieces. It gets sewn from the top of the nose all the way down and around to the chin. And because it's a curve, then it's going to get clipped. So that's number 1. Number 2, excuse me, is the mouthpiece. And the mouthpiece, or 2 of the mouthpieces here, you're going to put them together and you're going to sew them 1/4 of an inch. All seams are 1/4 of an inch. So you're going to sew 1/4 of an inch all the way down and around, and you're going to clip that curve also. Then you're going to take it and open it up, and you're going to turn back 1/4 of an inch, not a double turn, just a single turn, 1/4 of an inch, and you're going to stitch that down. And that's the mouth lining, the lining for the mouth part. Then you're going to take the cheek pieces. Here's your cheek piece. You have 2 of them. And you have one that's one that is curved more than the other, and that's your top. Okay. You're going to take there's 2 straight edges, and you're going to take the long straight edge and you're going to turn it back 1/4 of an inch, and you're going to stitch down. And now the lining pieces are ready. They're ready. The face piece is ready. Here's that face piece again, and you're going to put the mouthpiece in first, and then you're going to put the cheeks on top of it, and you're going to stitch all the way around. You'll be clipping the corners, and then through this little nice pocket that we just made, you'll be able to push it through and pull it all out, and then we'll press it. Now I'm going to go to the sewing machine. I'm going to show you exactly how we do that. Okay. So I set all this up on my kitchen counter so you could see that I can sew and I can press, and I was even cutting when I was cutting them out on my kitchen counter. So that's the whole idea. We're all isolating in our homes, and not everybody has a big sewing room. So this can be done on your kitchen counter or at your kitchen table. Now I put a mask on when I'm sewing because I have a lung situation that the fibers irritate, so My voice might even start going because I can't talk long with when I'm sewing because the fibers are still irritate me. So here we are. We have the nose and the chin. The nose and the chin. We're going to take 2 of those, pick them up off the pile. I'd be sewing in piles of 10. So I would sew all of the 10 faces. It's a 1/4 of an inch seam. Now you can sew as fast or as slow as you want. Just make it a 1/4 of an inch because you're going around the curve. Back tack everything. I trim as I go. Maybe you want to trim at the end. That's up to you. You're going to clip this curve so that it'll lay nice. That's your face. Now I'm going to take 2 mouthpieces. Just 2. There's 2. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to sew from the nose around 1/4 of an inch all the way down to the bottom, which is the chin. Okay. Now on this, what you're going to do is take each side of this and you're going to fold that back 1/4 of an inch. Again, do this on all 10. It makes it a whole lot easier than trying to put things one at a time together. It goes a lot faster, and you know, this is a little bit more of a construction project than you know, a lot of masks, but there's a reason for it. This is used for people who have some immune problems when they have to get out into a situation where they might be exposed. So, okay, so that's turn back. Now I have the other side to turn back. Quarter of an inch. It's a little less, it's not going to hurt anybody, and if it's a little more, it won't hurt anything either. When you're doing this for a long time, during you know, a couple hours at a time, you want to stretch a little bit from the, you know, twist, stretch, otherwise you're all hunched over the machine and it really starts to hurt your back, starts to hurt your neck. Now, here's the face, here's the mouth lining, and now I'm picking up 2 pieces of the cheek lining. The cheek lining, the pattern on the top has a little bit more of a curve, and on the bottom is a little bit straighter. So you have a right and a left. And of course somebody missed cutting that, so I'll just continue cutting that so that we're done. And that might happen, you know, so you just kind of have to go with it. All right, so there's your top, and there's the bottom. You have 2 straight sides. You're going to make a seam, turn back and stitch on the long side, and you're going to leave this side open. So I'm going to take this piece, one piece, because it's a pair. I'm going to sew this 1/4 of an inch. Just finger fold it, stick it under the machine, get your fingers out of the way, and start stitching. So again, I'm going to back stitch, and then I'm going to just turn it and finish that 1/4 inch seam coming down. Okay, so I sewed that one from the top down. So the next one, its brother, I'm going to sew from the bottom up so that it matches. So that's the top, that's the bottom. I'm going to take the bottom of this, I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to just fold back 1/4 of an inch. And stick it under the machine. Get your fingers out of the way, back stitch, and then finger fold it all the way down. You don't have to go fast, you can go slow, whatever you're comfortable with. Back tack again. Now, at this point, I'm looking down there and I'm thinking I see that all of the pieces are ready to sew together. All my ends are stitched back so they're not going to fall apart when they get wet and washed. And now I just want to show you how you have a pair. Because of how we sewed it, you now have a pair that matches each other. So we're going to take this piece, the face piece. Okay, so now it's time to attach the lining onto the face. Here's the mouth. We're going to match up the seam at the center, and something different than what you might be used to, we're going to fold them both in the same direction, because we're going to slide something in a pocket there. We're going to make a pocket there, and we don't want it to get caught in the fabric. So see, even without pins, you can just, it's such a small piece that you can just hold it with your fingers and then get your fingers out of the way so you don't sew your fingers. Go to the bottom, fold it in the same direction, so that was away from where you were sewing. This is going to be towards on the bottom, towards how you're sewing. And put it on that 1/4 inch mark. Hold that seam down, sew a little bit, back tack, keep sewing. And of course, something's going to want to come around, but just hold it so it's in the same direction and sew it down. Back tack so it doesn't come apart. Okay, so now you have the mouth sewn on. Now you have cheeks you have to sew on. So you're going to lay this. This cheek is going to go over here. This cheek is going to go over here. So you're going to lay this down and line up the ends of it. Start on the bottom, put it in the machine on the 1/4 mark, back tack, and sew this little 4 or 5 inch piece here. Now if you can get it to go and stay down in the corner, that's fine. If you have to sew off and turn and start again, that's fine too. Now, don't get excited if you find that, you know, maybe the lining piece doesn't quite match up. Maybe it's a little longer, whatever, because they're cutting, when they cut, they're cutting in pile, you know, a lot of layers at the same time. So something might go off a little bit. So just get it back down to where you can see the bottom fabric. Sew up. Turn. Okay, now see, as you get up here, it matches the fabric again. Just in here, it got a little off. You're going to go up 1/4 inch. You're going to back tack. And get rid of it. And we're going to go to the other side and do the same thing. We're going to line it up on the end. This is overlapped. Everything is matching, you know, pretty well. And we're setting it on the 1/4 inch mark again. And back tack. Come down to the end. Turn. And again, there's just a little bit more on this end here because it was just cut differently. So I'm just going to cut that off so I can see where I'm sewing here. 1/4 inch down. And go to the 1/4 and turn. You want to make the 1/4 on the, the 1/4 inch from the, on the face. And you have just sewn the lining to the face. I'm going to clip the corners because we're going to turn this. So it makes it a whole lot easier. It gets rid of the bulk if you clip the corners. Now remember, when you're sewing it in stages. So you would do all 10 like this. And then you're going to turn all 10. I'm going to get inside here. And because we have those overlaps, it's easy to get in there. You don't have to leave anything open and go back and close it. It just does that. I'm pulling it out. Now I'm going to take this to the ironing board. And I'm going to press it all around the outside. Okay, so I'm now at the ironing board. And I want to get this out because sometimes if you get this caught inside, you don't get the shape then. Don't forget you have that little peak at the top there. So you just, if it ends up that a little white is sticking out, I don't think anybody's going to be upset. But you want to do it right. We're just going to try to make sure that we're getting all that out. Now, not obviously, maybe you do have an iron like this, maybe you don't. A regular steam iron is fine. An ironing board is fine. I just happen to have this thing that doesn't shut off on me, so I like to use it. Roll it so that you get everything lined up real nice. Okay. So you now have the makings of a mask. Actually, while I'm at the ironing board, I am going to iron this down a little bit in the center. So now we have a nose and we have a chin. And we have a pocket in here to put the filter in. I'm going to take it back to the sewing machine. I'm going to top stitch around the whole outside to get 3/8 of an inch. So if you, again, it's in between the 1/4 and the 1/2 is where you're going to sew. And you're going to top stitch all around that. So I put my guide down. If you don't have a guide, put a piece of tape or something that will help hold it back. Again, it's not a race. I'm just trying to get through the video. I want to get all that seam allowance over to the one side. And you might want to set your stitch between 2 and 3, a little bit less than 3, so that you know, you don't have too big of a stitch. It'll stay together more. Some of the quilters are making the real tiny stitches, and I guess that's fine, except if you make a mistake and you have to rip it out. It's hard to it's hard to rip out. Okay, so now you've top stitched all the way around. I'm clipping. And now we're going to make the side piece, the side where the elastic goes through. So I'm just going to turn this back. Sometimes we're going to ask you to turn it back an inch. That's for a bigger face. 1.5 inches is for maybe a medium average face. And then if you have a small face, turn it back to here, and it's just about 2 inches. You just make sure you don't sew this, you know, sew this when you're doing it. So I'm just going to sew this for a gentleman, and I'm going to sew it 1 inch. I also put a ruler on the front of my machine, so I can just find my inch mark. I'm going to raise this so I can get over here towards the end. You can sew anywhere on this. Okay, so you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Measure back the inch and sew. I don't think I have to do that to show you for you to know. Now what we did here is we created a pocket, and we have nose pieces that slide in here and become the nose. It gets pinched on the nose so that it stays down. And when you have everything going in the right direction, well, maybe I need to go in from this side so it's going in the right direction. You have to maneuver it. Oh, thank goodness it went in. Okay, so here's the end, here's the end. I'm on my ruler again. I'm going to see, it's about there. Voila, that's a little bigger. I'm going to push it over. Now, I broke 7 needles figuring out how to get this right. So I'm going to put my fingernail right there where the end of that is. I'm going to make sure that that's underneath the foot. And the first thing I'm going to do is hand turn this so I make sure if I hit the metal, it won't hurt anything because it's by hand. If I do it with the machine, I'm going to break the needle. So I'm tacking that. I'm going to the other side. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to find where it is and make sure that the needle stays away. It doesn't have to be right up against it. It just has to be, make sure that it doesn't, well, I should be doing that by hand, shouldn't I? That's why 7 needles. Okay. Now basically, you're done. If this side were turned over here, you would be done. So you're going to clip everything, make it look nice and neat. Nobody wants to have strings hanging all over their face. You know, and everything. Now from here, at this point, this goes in the wash. We wash everything again. You've been handling it. The cutter was handling it. It's washed before we start, and it'll be washed at the end. This nose piece is going to be able to bend to somebody's nose. It's pliable enough that, you know, it can, however it needs to go. So from here, this goes in the wash. When it comes out of the wash, it looks like this. And then, this is a handy dandy little tool. You can make it out of a coat hanger. Now, elastic seems to be gold these days because everybody's making masks. So you might find any different kind of elastic, and we're using them all. If I'm using it for, let's say, a cancer patient that has to go for treatments, if that's where these are going, I'm going to use a t-shirt. It's called t-shirt yarn. and it's very soft on the ears, and it's done. So when that person gets it, they'll be able to take it and make it as tight as they need it around there. And there's your mask. And probably without all the talking, it would take maybe 10 minutes total to put it together once you get used to it. And go by piles of 10. Everything goes in a pile of 10. All of a sudden you have 10 made, instead of going through all that just for one. All right, thanks. If this is appealing to you, we hope that you'll be able to join us. We're creating a small army of people who are making masks for people who are at risk. Thanks.